is 38. That's an incredible number, and they don't feel like the door is shut yet on the tournament. So they're still out here pleading their case. It's certainly going to take a couple wins here at the end of the season because their most recent 10 right now is not working in their favor. They started conference play, as you said, on a tear with wins against Kentucky and Georgia. And if you've watched this team play, you would be surprised to see those losses in the loss column because they are right there. In fact, in 3 matches during that losing streak, they actually outscored their opponent. But unfortunately, this isn't basketball where you take the first quarter into the second quarter. That set win, even if it's a big one, washes when you start set 2, and that has not worked in favor of the Auburn Tigers, where they said there's been 3 matches this season. At the end of the night, they have actually outscored their opponent and yet walked away with a loss. So some heartbreaking outcome for the Tigers so far.
Super crowd inside McCaslin Fieldhouse for Oklahoma's final home game of the season. A senior day here for the Sooners. A lot of impactful seniors that we're going to highlight in a moment. And Alexis Shelton with the swing on that left side. Second effort is saved wide of the line. The error gives Oklahoma the first point of the evening.
No surprise here for Oklahoma. Alexis Shelton is going to start up there in left front. She's the player we're talking about, the elite attacker, so terminal. She is a high flyer, hits crazy sharp angles, just has a whip of an arm, and she will start up in left front. They hope to get the most points out of her in those 3 rotations across the front row.
So athletic and versatile. 5 points a set. It's a significant number. It's top 5 in the league. Peyton Chamberlain sets it tight to the middle. Good to see Chamberlain setting once again today. Was dealing with an illness over the last week and a half. Number 2 in the maroon there. It's all smiles. Her team is out to the 2-0 advantage. So Whitney Wallace continues to serve. That's long. It's 2-1 Sooners.
You mentioned the fact that Peyton Chamberlain on the floor for Oklahoma tonight after an illness. We've also been wondering who we would see setting for Auburn, as they had been in a 6-2 at one point, had gone to a 5-1, and then Edson with an ankle injury, and Peyton Dunn now setting for Auburn in the 5-1, and that is who is on the floor tonight. She's in wearing number 7 in blue, and so both teams appear to be in a 5-1.
Yeah, Edson coming into the match was officially, call it listed as questionable. And so we are seeing Dunn out of the gates here. Wide set to Shelton. This one stays alive for Auburn. Big swing on that right side. Zimmerman couldn't convert it. We've got a whistle. The net is bouncing, and so Oklahoma was in that net. Gives the point to the Tigers.
Alexis Shelton doesn't look like she agrees with that call, and we'll see if this early in the match Coach Mansfield decides to use a challenge.
And so teams are going to huddle up. And it does appear we're going to take a look at this. There is Aaron Mansfield, California native.
Original call, point Auburn. Oklahoma is challenging that Auburn was in the net.
And so we get a very early challenge just a few points into this first set, as again everything so critical at this stage of the season. Let's tap into our Hawkeye technology to give us a look. Again, Missy, the ruling is that Shelton, or a Sooner player, was in the net, touched the net violation. And
okay,
if
and
anything,
what I'm seeing here, yeah, the down official actually made an out of bounds motion with his hands, and he thought that the attack from Alexis Shelton hit the antenna. And it just speaks to the importance of these early points to set the tone on your home court.
And you said it, each coach starts with a pair of challenges. If you win every one of those challenges, you keep retaining that challenge. Now, each coach would get a challenge back if we do reach a 5th set, but no more than 2 at one time. Callie Kimoha, that's the veteran, playing her final game in this building. On the service line, Shelton going nearly over the scorer's table to keep that one alive. High set to Belle Zimmerman.
She is one of the pin players that we highlighted in the Open, and this is exactly why Auburn is at their best when they run the spread offense from pin to pin. And right now with McCurdy in the middle, she draws just enough attention from that Oklahoma block. By the way, these are the 2 best blocking leagues in the team, or excuse me, 2 best blocking teams in the league. So you're going to have to look for one-on-one opportunities.
I mean, they're both averaging about 2.5, 3 blocks per set. That is a significant top 25 figures nationally, and it's now a 4-3 OU edge. It really has been a very solid season. Year 1 in the SEC for Oklahoma. Last year they went 4-14 in Big 12 play. Things were a little shaky in Mansfield and his staff's first season in Norman, but they have added some veterans. They have come together, and they've got a chance to, with back-to-back wins to end the year, finish the season 500 in SEC play. That would be significant. Chamberlain over to Shelton, blocked right back.
Big block here by Auburn, and an important one early, because if they can slow Alexis Shelton down early, look at the play in the back row by Slaughter to keep it alive. So defense right now for Auburn coming up big. It's defense in the backcourt and defense at the net. And the earlier you can block Alexis Shelton and make her think about her swing a little, the better for Auburn. Wow.
There's the high leverage swing, and just the apex that she can reach. Indefensible in a sense.
Yeah, this is why we expect to see her on the all-conference team. It's plays like this. It's the out-of-system point scoring that teams can just lean into night after night. This is why Oklahoma can go up against the best teams in the league and either be competitive or come away with a win on the road like they did at Texas, because Alexis Shelton can take over a match.
Well, Missy, they are feeding their star. That was her 8th swing. Auburn ties it up here, but it's 3 kills on 8 swings for Shelton early on.
And from one star to the next, that was Madison Shear coming out of the back row, #1 for Auburn. She is their big point scorer and has had a hot hand lately. They're using her more across the back row than they did early in the season, and that opens up the back row attack for them.
Lydia Martin with her first kill of the evening. That's the 5th-year senior in the middle. Has been very versatile offensively and on the block this year.
And I think it's so important for Oklahoma to get those middles going early. They said they have not set their middles as much lately, and that is not by design. They just have not had the pass that they wanted. So if they can pass well early and get those middles going, it only opens things up at the pin.
Opportunity for Oklahoma. Up high, Shelton times it. Don't think there was a touch, so just a miss hit gives the Tigers another point.
And Camille Gibson is much like Shelton in the fact that she can be so terminal. She has a powerful arm, but she's going to have to learn to limit her errors, because in their most recent match, she had 7 kills, but 7 errors to go along with it and hit 0.
There's Shelton on the other side.
Keeping Shelton in across the back row here, as we're seeing Auburn do with Madison Shear. That gives them a few more offensive options. And that was Alexis Shelton running out of right back. We'll see if they continue to run her across the back row as the match goes on.
On the slide, connection was not there. Finding Bella Bell, though Auburn benefits from the Oklahoma mistake.
As we talk about those pin players for Auburn, Bella Bell, interesting in that she used to be included on that graphic of pin players playing for the right side, on the right side, but she's a former middle blocker, and they've decided to switch to the 5-1 and actually have her playing back in the middle. She'll still hit a lot of balls on the slide from the right side, but blocking out of the middle now.
Missy, if there's one area that Auburn can exploit perhaps today, is attacking that Oklahoma back row. Last in the league in digs. They've struggled there at times, and so Peyton Dunn back to serve again. Gibson blocked. Auburn leads by 2.
Nice work at the net here by McCurdy. She is actually 8th in the SEC, over a block per set. And she doesn't have to do too much for this team offensively. They use her just enough in the middle to keep that defense honest, but boy, is she doing a good job of patrolling the net with her defense.
How about Gibson displaying the offensive repertoire down the line?
I think that's a really important shot from Gibson, because we just mentioned moments ago that she can be high error, and she's got to keep that number under control. And rather than erring out of that shot, she finds some open court there along the net. Not only does she find open court, she's able to get it to the floor.
Dunn to the middle. McCurdy didn't quite find the connection there, and Oklahoma ties it up.
Nice job there by Kari Geisberger, playing in right front for Oklahoma, helping with that gap set. And when Kari's in the front row, I'm not sure that that's where you want to be going with your middle attack.
Geisberger 6'7", without a doubt the tallest player on the floor, and by several inches. Big rip. That one falls wide. Oklahoma with the point.
Peyton Chamberlain of Oklahoma right now just doing a really nice job of moving the ball around, getting all of her offensive weapons involved in this offense.
Yeah, Chamberlain with 5 assists early on. She's averaging more than 10 a set. Oh, there's Geisberger. And looked like Burgess got in on the action as well.
And again, Auburn choosing to go at Kari Geisberger along with KJ Burgess up there in the front row. And if you'll notice, Oklahoma, one of the few teams in the league who will go to a triple block. So Alexis Shelton all the way over to help on that one.
And that is a stout presence at the net. You got Oklahoma 9th in the nation in terms of blocks per set. To the middle, handled, but an opportunity here for Oklahoma. This is Shelton now. Big rip. And she finds the floor.
And you'll notice here, out of system, something Oklahoma does a nice job of as Kimoha steps in for that secondary setting. They bring Alexis Shelton into the court. This is by design. And see how she just rips a hard angle inside that block. They purposefully don't set her all the way out to the pin, but they let her come in and get it.
And so now she's got 5 first set kills. Oklahoma's on a 5, make it 6-0 run.
Really nice job by KJ Burgess up there at the net. We knew that there would be some blocking in this match. As we said, 2 best blocking teams in the league, and we're seeing it firsthand.
I mean, Oklahoma, they have got some size along the net. It's not just Geisberger. Lydia Martin, 6'3". Shelton, incredibly athletic. Burgess, 6'2". You know, Aaron Mansfield jokes, boy, the difference between the Big 12 and this league is there's a whole lot of size along the net on his side as well. Shelton, that's wide.
It feels like the start for Oklahoma is particularly important here tonight, as they've actually lost 6 straight sets. They played a Texas A&M team who's very good, but they were not happy with their performance. Then they lose in 3 to Texas, who's really on a roll right now. So after dropping 6 sets in a row, it just felt like it would be very important how the Sooners could come out of the gate here tonight. And I think they have to feel good right now about the diversity in their offense, getting things going early. KJ Burgess now, everyone getting involved in the action.
And there does feel like there is a little extra juice in the building as well. That is now 3.5 blocks for Oklahoma in this first set. It's an 8-2 run, Missy. And so the Sooners are off to that fine start in a match it must have late in the season. Honored pre-match for Oklahoma, this fine season that the Sooners are having. You've got some vets that have been here a long time. Callie Kimoha, Peyton Chamberlain, Lydia Martin. The last image there, her second season at Oklahoma. Boy, what a transfer edition she was a couple of years ago. The others, Missy, it's Kari Geisberger. She'll be a one-and-done Sooner, if you will, but what a great acquisition she was in the offseason. And then lest we forget about Daly Ellison and a fifth-year Kelsey Carrington, who in a lot of ways the kind of the backbone of the organization Mansfield likes to refer to as. This run continues for the Sooners. It's now a 9-2 run right out of the chute. They are pretty sharp in a set that you had just alluded to a moment ago. It would behoove them to take this one early in this match.
Yeah, and already now they've recorded 3 blocks early in this first set. Just an incredible defense up at the net for the Sooners to get on the board here early. I think it's interesting. You never really know how the emotions of senior day are going to impact a match. But I'll tell you what, congratulations to Mississippi State and their group of seniors who pulled one of the upsets of the day, had Mizzou on their home court and win that one in 4. So if you've been watching football or volleyball this weekend, it has been crazy and it continues to be so.
Upsets everywhere, if you will. Yes. I mean, the SEC, you just never know. Oh, wow, nice little touch shot there, although was it long and wide of that white chalk line? Or rather paint line, I should say. Good idea here from Dreves. Where does it land?
They knew exactly where they were going.
Original decision, ball out. Point Oklahoma. Auburn is challenging that the ball was in.
We talked about the triple block that Oklahoma puts up, and because of that, it opens up a whole lot of court. You'll notice that entire left side of the court is covered by Kamoa alone. No way she can cover the entire court, and so this is a really smart shot. The question is, did she get a piece of that line? She was going for the right area. I don't know if she's able to execute or not.
Is it right? Boy, on that look, did that volleyball just glance a smidge of the edge of the white from that angle? We might have had something there. We need something definitive, of course, because the ruling is that right there, the ball was out.
With the Hawkeye system in play, this is one that as a coach I wouldn't hesitate to throw that challenge card down, because we typically have a really good look, or at least the officials have a really good look at the line. It's the touch call that is so hard to see, even with the cameras. But this one I think they'll get a good look at. Let's see what Hawkeye shows us.
After review, the ball was in, call is reversed, point Auburn, and they keep their challenge.
I mean, Missy, it is this look right here that you're referencing. That is exceptional to now implement in the game moving forward. This is the first year of the Hawkeye replay system at the SEC.
Yeah, the line calls have just become incredibly accurate with the Hawkeye system. And so now the next step is obviously, just as things improve in terms of the technology they can use, it's the touch call that is still the one that as a coach you have to determine, is it worth it at this point in the match to use that challenge card on the touch calls that are still really difficult to see.
It's a great point. Now back-to-back points there for Auburn, though Geisberger takes a little off that one herself and is rewarded with the point. Geisberger gets the high fives.
Nice tip shot right over the block. Doesn't give that away. Oftentimes you'll see attackers drop their elbow when they're going to go to use the off speed, but Geisberger stays high, gets on top of that ball and quickly to the floor.
Auburn once again without Alexis DaCosta, one of the better liberos in the SEC. That one is hammered through. Bella Bell registers the kill.
And Belle's showing us just how versatile she is as an attacker, because as we've mentioned, she started the season at the pin. They moved her to the middle, and knowing she was comfortable off one foot on the slide behind, but you see her on a quick attack in front as well.
60-year senior from outside Columbia, South Carolina, has had a very efficient SEC play. Martin taps it down.
Nice job here by Oklahoma of just making smart plays, not trying to do too much with the ball, trusting their defense, and I think they have every reason to with the way that they're blocking, because right now this is not a high efficiency game. Oklahoma hitting just under 100, but Auburn's in negative numbers. So extend the rally, trust your defense. That is how Oklahoma is winning this one.
Here's Sydney Thompson, comes in to serve, specialist at the line this year, 11 aces. That one's handled by Dreves. Back row swing. Shear couldn't convert. Martin pounds it off the block. An emphatic swing. And Oklahoma keeps this 4, 5, 6 point advantage over Auburn. Timeout, Tigers.
Kevin, the good news is attempts out of the middle for Oklahoma. That means the ball control is there to run that middle, which is what they were hoping for. And the even better news is a lot of those attempts are being converted into kills, as we've seen great offensive play from both Martin and KJ Burgess. And I think that's one of the things that can really set Oklahoma apart, is that they have two middles who I consider two-way middles. They don't just come on the floor to block, and they don't come just on the floor to swing, but they get it done both offensively and defensively in all 6 rotations.
And so Oklahoma with the 5-point advantage. So let's take a moment to remind you that Texas is in action on Wednesday against Tennessee. So that match will first serve at 8 Eastern on the network. And so with Kentucky's win earlier today against Arkansas, Missy, Texas and Florida, they remain a game and a half behind the Wildcats. So basically, simply put, if Texas or Florida wants to at least share a piece of the SEC crown, they got to win their final 2 matches, and they would need Kentucky to lose at Mizzou. So the Wildcats have now claimed at least a share of their, counted up 1 to 8 straight SEC titles now.
Yes, with the upset today, Mississippi State takes down Mizzou. Kentucky is the only team in the league now in control of their own destiny. And this is a team who this year, after 7 consecutive titles, or at least a share of the title, was picked to finish 3rd. And they are in the driver's seat. What a fantastic job by Kentucky, by Craig Skinner and that entire crew. They have battled players in and out of the lineup all season long. They played perhaps the hardest pre-conference schedule in the entire nation. And, you know, they took some bruises along the way, but wow, are they better for it.
You know, we'll get back to live action in a moment here, but Bell gets blocked. They're not quite close yet to the dominance of Florida's run. We know that from a decade plus ago. That's standard. How do you, as a player in a system where you win 6, 7, 8 straight league championships, sure, you can get complacent. How does the standard remain so high when you're playing and winning at that level?
You know, you think they could easily become complacent, but this year, I think it had to feel so fresh, and this one has to feel, I haven't talked to them about this, these are my words, but I feel like this one's got to feel pretty sweet. With the addition of Oklahoma and Texas to the league, and we came into this season saying, you know, Texas is a tier above, and then it's everyone else, and they're picked to finish 3rd. There's a couple players who have transferred from Kentucky to Texas that are on that Texas team. And for Kentucky to right now be in the driver's seat, I feel like that one has to feel extremely rewarding at this point. And there's still some volleyball ahead, but boy, they have every opportunity out in front of them. So congratulations to Kentucky Wildcats for sure.
That is a vicious swing, by the way, from Lydia Martin. My goodness. So she's got several kills in this first set. Oklahoma looks like it's running away with this in the first set.
And like we said, It is good news for Oklahoma when there are swings being taken out of the middle, and Peyton Chamberlain is one of my favorite setters to watch because she's absolutely fearless in the way that she plays the setting position, just flings it around, such strong hands, and is not afraid to force her middles. That's what I like about her.
So that one falls wide of the line, so Auburn gets the point. Yeah, that Martin swing essentially uncontested at the net. She was able to tee off on it. Oklahoma by 6. Again, we played at 25. You must win by 2. And we will play, it's the best 3 out of 5 in terms of sets. First team to 3-set winners wins the match. Gibson with the fortuitous point, although not so fast did she touch the net. The initial call is that Auburn is awarded the point.
And this is something Oklahoma likes to do out of system, is hang a high, tight ball up at the net and rely on the athleticism of their pins to go up and get it, which they're quite capable of. But that time she does get a little piece of the net there and quickly makes up for it with a big swing from the left side, and we'll get that point right back. Camille Gibson
Gets it right back. That's got to sit in the back of a setter's mind. You know, hey, let's go right back to someone who thought she had one a moment ago.
Oh, yes, that is a smart decision by Peyton Chamberlain.
How about 12 assists for Chamberlain? To your point, that is above her season average. And once you're averaging more than 10, 11, 12 assists per set, that's elite. Touch at the net. Geisberger keeps it up. Opportunity for Oklahoma. To the middle. That's dug out. Nicely done by Dreves. Where does Chamberlain want to go? Gibson down the line, just wide. And so Auburn remains alive. Down 5. It needs a run here to tighten this first set up.
And again, you see the dynamic play of Camille Gibson, and yet you see the error. And I know there's still some volleyball this year, but as I look ahead to next year, and I think Oklahoma can be a team who is going to be so good in the future when they have more time to train Camille Gibson, who's a transfer to them, because Oklahoma is a team who I think could be scary from the left pin in all 6 rotations once they spend a little time training Camille Gibson. And you have a lot of teams with one really dynamic, high-flying left side, but in Camille Gibson and Alexis Shelton, Oklahoma is a team who's going to have someone at that left pin in all 6 rotations that is going to cause fear in some opponents.
3 kills for the redshirt freshman from Crossroads, Texas. Set point for the Sooners. Misconnection that time. Chamberlain to Geisberger. Auburn point. So Zimmerman was there to deny the 6'7" veteran.
Zimmerman left alone there on the left side, and these pins are what I call interchangeable, and that you'll see there's rotations where Zimmerman will stay on the left side and she's quite comfortable there and comes up with a solo block.
Geisberger couldn't get it done once again, and so back-to-back for Auburn, staving off the elimination, if you will, in this first set. Brett Crouch uses his second timeout.
These quick
Oklahoma.
timeouts.
Go ahead, Missy.
Yeah, these quick timeouts, Kevin, it's just interesting to me. There is so much at stake here late in the season. These coaches do not want to give the opponent even an opportunity to create a little run. You know, we're in the red zone right now. You know, can they close the door in the red zone? And Oklahoma wants to put this one to bed quickly and go up 1-0 at home. As we said, they're coming off of a couple matches here where they've lost 3-0. So they're trying to get back in the winning column and set the tone here early on their home court.
And so they've got the 15 kills in this first set. It's a solid number. Auburn has struggled with 9 attack errors and only 11 digs, so that's -6. Compared to Oklahoma, the Sooners have dug out 6 more balls, and so in a lot of ways that partially tells the tale of this first set. Again, no Alexis DaCosta. That's the starting libero for Auburn. Top 10 in the league in digs per set. And so Oklahoma right on the verge here of winning this first set. After getting swept in those back-to-back matches against Texas and A&M.
Yeah, to your point,
significant.
Kevin, yeah, Kevin, I was going to say, to your point, the 15 kills combined with 6.5 blocks. Oklahoma has scored nearly 22 points. That's an incredible number.
Gosh.
Typically, your opponent is giving you 6 or 7 errors over the course of the set. But Oklahoma has gone out and taken this one and add another kill to that. It's a great performance in set 1 by the Sooners.
Geisberger finishes with 3 kills. So 4 different Sooners with 3 or more kills. The distribution was strong, the defense solid. It's a 25-20 set 1 win for Oklahoma, and a very important one for the Sooners. And with an overwhelming presence at the net, 6.5 blocks, that is a significant number for a 1 set.
Yeah, the story of that set, you take a look at the offensive efficiency from Auburn, and they're in the negative numbers, but they're not hitting balls out of bounds. This is all credit to the Oklahoma block coming in and scoring points with their physicality at the net, being really disciplined with their hands. And so we'll see if Auburn is able to find a way around that. They cannot go low, hard seam against this Oklahoma team. They're going to have to challenge the edge of the block and go after those hands high and see if they can find a way to terminate some balls.
Everybody across that net is 6'2" or taller. You've got Geisberger, who's 6'7", Peyton Chamberlain, the setter, stands at 6 foot. And so this solid season for Oklahoma, you just think about it. If you're Aaron Mansfield and this staff in their 2nd season, coming over from LMU, where he had great success in LA, he's got his team in position, perhaps, in that at-large bid conversation to the NCAA tournament. They've got a solid RPI. The key is, can they finish out the season on good footing as they finish against Auburn and Arkansas? And you can take a look at the advantage Oklahoma had in both of those critical categories. Shelton led the way with 5 kills on 10 swings.
Yeah, I just think the physicality at the net for Oklahoma was just dominant there in that first set. And so I'll be interested to see perhaps Auburn can get something going from the service lines. We have not seen an Auburn service error yet, only 1 ace. And so maybe they'll be a little more aggressive here because they're going to have to find a way to rattle this Oklahoma team.
Madison Shear, 8 aces on the season, is at the line. Oh, Shelton, precision kill. She's got 6.
Alexis Shelton, coach told us, was a player who they knew she could hit the high, hard ball. But the work she put in the offseason to develop her shots is what has really paid off for her. And early in the SEC play, they went 5 sets with both Florida and Kentucky. Were not able to pull those out, but the results she was getting in those long 5-set matches, the success she was having, it registered to her how important it was to have those shots. And you're seeing her get better and better night after night. And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about this staff having an off season to train Camille Gibson. And I expect her to look a lot more like Alexis Shelton come next year. And all of a sudden, this is an Oklahoma team that is going to be very scary.
It's a great point. Shelton undoubtedly playing at an all-conference level. It would be shocking not to see her on the list postseason. Her 3rd year with the program, decided to stick when the new staff came in. The junior from Charlotte is turning in a career season, and she was very good last year, has just elevated her game. That serve is long, so it's 2 up. Early moments of the 2nd set. Best 3 out of 5. Oklahoma has claimed the first set, and it is 1st to 25 at each of the first 4 sets. Will win it. Advantage right back to OU.
And so I mentioned the fact that there was not a service error for Auburn coming into this set. And obviously you don't want service errors, but I do expect to see a pretty aggressive team from the line for Auburn here in the 2nd set. And we have now seen an error, but I think they understand how important it is to knock this team out of system, because Oklahoma passed well enough in that first set that they had 3 options in almost every rotation.
Bell on the slide, gets it done. That's Bella Bell, the veteran from Blythewood, South Carolina.
And as a graduate, just a really smart shot. Enough of a snap on the wrist, not a hard hit ball from Bella Bell, but she knows where the open areas are on the court.
So that's a couple of service errors for both teams, yeah, early in this second set. Dunn up high to Shear. Chamberlain to the middle. Burgess is denied. Gibson just wide. And you can see the athleticism from Gibson on that left side, but just missed her target.
And unfortunately for Camille Gibson, it's a nice hard hit ball, but again, she's wide, and that's now 3 kills to go along with 6 errors. So she's well into the negatives right now.
Boy, Oklahoma getting most of its points on service errors very early in this set.
Yeah, and I made the point that I expected a more aggressive serve from Auburn, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a few errors, but I don't think we want 3 in a row. So there's something about the timeliness of an error. You know, if you've had a miss before you, it's important to go back to the line and put the ball in play.
Well, we've had 9 total points in this set, 5 of them, so more than half have been thanks to service errors. Auburn ties it back up at 5. Savvy network from Shear.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, we trade points back and forth we go, but so far a bit of a sloppy start here to set 2. We'll see which team can settle in.
Peyton Dunn, that's the junior from Texas, the starting setter for Auburn, is back there to serve. Oh, tough to handle. It was Dunn who Geisberger targeted. That's a kill.
And this is a faster tempo ball behind to Geisberger, and you'll see she loads inside the court. That's nowhere near an attack from the pin. So they're running her in a gap set, a quick attack. I like the fact that Peyton Chamberlain, that setter for Oklahoma, uses all areas of the net.
It has been a very fine start for Chamberlain. Again, had the 13 assists in that first set. So that is a quality number to average. And Oklahoma's lead grows. It's 7-5.
Another smart shot by Alexis Shelton, who, as we mentioned, Coach talked about her developing shots, and with that, you see her ability now to consistently hit for a high efficiency. She's not swinging at balls out of bounds because she has so many options.
Well, and Mansfield and the staff, they like to use that phrase that we all are familiar with. How many tools can you have in your tool belt there? The more you add, the more you can keep the defense or your opposition off balance.
This interesting coaching matchup as they both have landed in the SEC but have come from the West Coast. Coach Crouch was at Portland when Coach Mansfield was at Santa Clara. So these two have a history with one another.
Shelton loads up. Shelton misfires long. So back-to-back for the Tigers to knot it up at 7. Shear, aggressive serve. Great look here. Geisberger. Boy, that is a brilliant look at the leverage she has when that ball is timed up nicely.
Yeah, and from that angle, you were able to see what a great choice that was by Peyton Chamberlain because of the fact that she's pulled into left front, and you see McCurdy goes with her. So the quick ball behind leaves absolutely no chance for McCurdy to make that move to her left and close. It's just a great one-on-one look.
Chamberlain went to the middle that time. Opportunity for Zimmerman. Block touch. Zimmerman with the tip. That one's handled by Kimoha. Oh, there's all-out effort to keep this one alive. Auburn has got to scramble back in place. Martin kills it.
In transition, find your middles if at all possible. It's not even a hard hit ball from Martin, but it's the speed of the attack in transition. When your middles work as hard as Lydia Martin to be in the air and be available, the defense just doesn't have time to get fully set.
And so Martin, by the way, 5 kills now on 8 swings. Errorless ball today for Martin, so the hit percentage is .625. That one was touched, so Auburn gets the point.
A little tit for tat action here between these setters as we were seeing them push the middles a bit. Now we're going to get a look at Lakin Laurendine, number 25 for Auburn, checking into the match.
Yeah, and Laurendine is played now in a couple of matches, did not play in their latest against Florida. Nice dig that time to keep it alive. Geisberger, yes.
And I tell you, Geisberger finding a rhythm. She's looking really comfortable right now with Peyton Chamberlain. She can be a huge piece of their offense as they move into postseason. Her production at the right side is, I think, it can really put this Oklahoma team over the edge, and particularly if it's a night when Camille Gibson isn't able to score points. Kari Geisberger is a really nice size on the right side, not just for blocking, but her attacking as well.
So that one bounces off the block and down. Auburn gets a point there. Lauren Dreves with the latest. Tigers trying to keep it close in this second set after dropping the opener.
Really nice work by Lauren Dreves, and out of system play well off the net. She's able to sneak one through, keeping that ball in play and extending rallies, which is what they want from her.
Shelton now with 9 kills. Again, she is on a 5+ kills per set clip right now.
Hitting
she
just
is thriving to start this match.
Yeah, I think thriving is the word. Hitting just under 300. She's coming off of that match against Texas, where her stat line was really one of the bright spots for Oklahoma. 14 kills, but hit 324 against Texas. So she's putting these kind of numbers up against elite competition.
Well, and let's go back as well to that 5-set win against the Longhorns. That was back in early November, just a few weeks ago, when Shelton hit 365, 27 kill performance that day in the giant win against the Longhorns. Oklahoma back up by 2 here after the latest conversion.
And that was Daly Ellison into the match there for Oklahoma, one of their seniors here on senior day, getting in on the action.
Shear off the block and down. Madison Shear, that's her 3rd kill. She's now back to hitting close to 0. It's been a okay start for Shear tonight.
And credit Auburn, who hit for negative numbers in that first set, is now hitting at 357 here in the current set.
Row swing, Shelton again. Look out.
And that's really what you see from the elite players in this league, is the back row offense is a piece of the puzzle for them. You know, they're able to bail their teams out of really difficult situations. And I think of Alexis Shelton. I think of Kimby Martin at Florida. I think of Brooklyn DeLay at Kentucky and Maddie Skinner at Texas. Those are 4 players who are just terminal out of the back row, and it really sets them apart because of what they provide for their team. That 4th option oftentimes in the offense, and their go-to players in all 6 rotations, those particular attackers.
Another block for Oklahoma. Missy, I want to follow up quickly. What makes a player so effective out of the back row? We're going to maybe talk about that more in depth when we do return, as Oklahoma has taken the 15-11 lead in set 2. Mizzou follows at 3:30, and then Texas and Texas A&M. to close it out. A trip to the SEC title game is on the line in that last match, Texas A&M. So, boy, we wondered the significance of Texas and A&M getting together again on the gridiron as conference foes. Yeah, a little extra juice, I would say, next week. Winner of that one goes to Atlanta to face Georgia in the SEC title game.
And after Oklahoma stormed the field, Auburn would not be outdone, by the way. The Auburn Tigers also had a field storming last night as they took down Texas A&M. It took 4 overtimes. I mean, these teams kept us up way too late last night to these programs, watching some crazy football.
And on the heels of that A&M point, the win for that Auburn football program, it very well effectively could essentially knock A&M out of at-large consideration. So A&M may have to beat Texas and Georgia theoretically in the SEC title game to reach that playoff. So in the meantime here, Oklahoma on the volleyball court would also like to be playing postseason volleyball. It had a 5-point lead in the second set just a couple of moments ago. Auburn with consecutive points. The Tigers have lost 9 straight matches. They've won a set in 7 of those 9. So they have been competitive during this losing streak, if you will. But they have got to break through. They dropped the first. Oklahoma has the 4-point edge here. Missy after the latest rejection.
Yeah, again, we're just seeing that Oklahoma block so solid up there at the net, the physicality of this Oklahoma team, and then you see the swing off of the block as well. The playoffs dominate football talk in the SEC, and in volleyball, it's the bubble teams for the SEC that are dominating the talk right now, because there's an interesting group of bubble teams in the SEC that are all trying to play their way into the tournament. Oklahoma sits at the very top, perhaps, of that bubble, feeling like they're in pretty good position, but would love to close out the season with a couple of wins to solidify their spot. And right behind them, Ole Miss, Tennessee, South Carolina, Arkansas, and guess who? Auburn. It's another one of those teams who are precariously situated right now as we edge closer and closer to the postseason. And the question is, how many teams will the SEC be able to land in the NCAA tournament?
They got 8 in a year ago. Seems fair to think 5 are virtual locks, you would think, at this point. Shelton is just piling it up now. 11 kills. Oklahoma has another lead of 6 or more in this match, and it prompts an Auburn timeout. And so Missy right there, those 5 you would think are the 5 that clearly have the best odds. They look like virtual locks to reach the field. And then on the backside there, Oklahoma has the 6th highest RPI in the SEC. So you are right on when you say they're certainly positioned the best of the quote-unquote bubble teams in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I think Oklahoma, their KPI is actually 29. That's an incredibly important number, and it has a lot to do with it takes into account where you played a match. So for the fact that Oklahoma went to Texas and got a win, that really plays in their favor. And then the fact that KPI also considers the length of the match. You know, you're going to get more credit for a 5-set nail biter than you are for a 3 if you're swept in 3 sets. And as we mentioned earlier, this is an Oklahoma team. If the committee wants a competitive tournament, this is an Oklahoma team that says, hey, look at us. We've been really competitive, by the way. We took Florida to 5 sets. We took Kentucky to 5 sets. We took Mizzou to 5 sets. So they have proved their ability to be in the big matches. They have the athletes to compete. I think if you're choosing a 6 team right now, today, Oklahoma is that 6 team to me out of the SEC. But there is a group of teams right there that are probably yelling at me right now as I say that, because Ole Miss and Tennessee and Arkansas, those teams have to be strongly considered.
Well, and your logic is completely sound. We show that RPI reason for a major reason. If folks at home are going, well, explain the RPI numbers a bit better. The higher the RPI, the better your chances of receiving an at-large bid. Missy, pretty much fair to say if you got a top 25 RPI,
yes,
you're a tournament team. 30 to 40, it's going to depend on the selection committee's procedure come Selection Sunday. That's a nice kill for Auburn. It's back to a 5-point set. And to underscore your point, Oklahoma finishes the season against Auburn and at Arkansas. Those are top 50 teams nationally. So, in other words, tournament caliber teams.
Yes, and I think it plays to Oklahoma's favor that they still get another shot at Arkansas. That is one of their doubles this season. Every SEC team has two opponents that they play twice. Oklahoma played Texas twice. They split with them. They actually lost to Arkansas earlier this season, and Coach Mansfield said, we've played good volleyball and lost some matches, you know, such as Kentucky and Florida. He said, but we lost to Arkansas and didn't feel like we played as good a volleyball as we could. So that's a match that they're looking forward to having a second opportunity against Arkansas, and I think that could make a really good impression on the committee if they can come back and beat a team who beat them early in the season. But that's a tall order. That Arkansas team is a really tough draw.
And they've got to go to Fayetteville. By the way, Missy, we have a Kaylee Edson sighting, the freshman setter from about an hour outside St. Louis, number 6 in that Auburn Navy, is on the floor. So she was questionable coming in after that ankle tweak of the Texas match a week and a half ago. She's out there. Oklahoma, though, stretches its lead back to 6.
You know, I've seen quite a bit of Auburn this year, and this just isn't the team that I've seen over the course of the season. They're struggling to find some rhythm as we've seen some setting changes, and also the fact that they are without their libero DaCosta. And where that really affects them is in serve receive. The quality of that first pass for them to be able to get their offense going just hasn't quite been there.
Nice swing there from Zimmerman. Just enough room for Whitney Wallace to keep it alive for the Sooners. Pushing deeper into this second set, Bella Bell jams it down.
Here's some good rhythm for Auburn, right? They get a free ball and absolutely capitalize on it. Bella Bell just straight down the middle and that cross-body swing away from the block. And when we talk about rhythm, it's not that Auburn doesn't have good passers on the floor, but when you have passed all season with a libero who's out there in all 6 rotations, these players are now passing next to someone who they have not passed next to over the course of the season. And so finding that rhythm takes some time.
The ruling is there was a touch. That gives Oklahoma the point. Let's take a look.
Auburn also going with a triple block look. Tells you how much respect these teams have for the play at the pins, trying everything they can to slow down the pin attackers on both sides.
Alexis Shelton with 12 kills. That is a 6 kills per set average tonight. That is elite. From the back row, Shear misfires long. And now Oklahoma is 2 away from pretty emphatically going up 2 sets to none. They've had some large leads in both sets. On the slide, that's wide. So now Oklahoma's a point away. And keep in mind, we'll talk to Aaron Mansfield in just a moment before we take a timeout on the heels of this second set if Oklahoma does close it out. Nice move. Savvy play by the rookie Edson to dump it over.
And Edson has only played in 1 set in the 5-1 against Texas before she was injured. And so she hasn't had many trips across the front row. She hasn't had the opportunity to be offensive. And she gets one and goes for it. I like it.
Set point once again. Oklahoma trying to go up 2 sets to none. Block. Auburn with another. That's its 4th block of the evening.
Ellison on the outside, right now for Oklahoma. And both of these teams have the ability to put up a very solid block. The low hard seam ball just isn't going to work.
Shelton, her 13th kill, puts Oklahoma up 2-0. And in both sets, the Sooners had pretty large leads. They've taken the first two, 25-20, and now 25-18. They are one set away from a home sweep against this top 50 RPI Auburn squad that is just searching and continues to search. So in a moment, we'll speak with the head coach, Aaron Mansfield. And Missy, you have highlighted the offensive work. I would imagine he would be pretty pleased with how the offense has looked. Maybe the distribution of swings. Looking at it right now, Shelton has 13 kills. Martin, an errorless performance thus far. She's got 6 kills. And Geisberger has 6. So we've got... Coming up next Sunday, 1 week from today, we will figure out who is in this year's NCAA tournament. The first and second rounds begin December 5th. And then remember, the semifinals and the championship, December 19th to the 22nd.
Kevin, there's 31 automatic qualifiers, and when you see an upset in the mid-majors, that is not good for some of these power conferences who are looking to land more teams in. And today, the Atlantic 10, a big upset as Loyola took down Dayton. Dayton is obviously a tournament team with the resume that they have, and they're a great volleyball team. But now Loyola comes along and wins the tournament, and that is what you would consider a bid stolen. So there will be 2 teams from the Atlantic 10 now. That makes for one less open spot. I thought one of the other big things across the nation today was the fact that Miami took down Georgia Tech. For Miami, that's their 3rd top 15 win. Georgia Tech at number 15 right now is obviously a tournament team, as well as Miami. But Georgia Tech was playing to protect perhaps the opportunity to host at home the first and second rounds. And they could definitely still have that opportunity, but that win against Miami could come back to haunt them. So interesting things being determined across the nation today.
That is significant, and that's a great point. As you mentioned, you know, Dayton just 1 loss going into that tournament, and so to your point, you've got to now put both of those teams in the tournament field. We start the second set, by the way, with Auburn tying things up. Make it the 3rd set, I should say. Oklahoma has won the first 2, 25-20 and 25-18. So it would love a nice, clean, tidy sweep to bolster its NCAA tournament resume. As Missy, Oklahoma sitting there with a 32 RPI. That is a very significant number. The committee heavily weighs RPI and how good is yours. That's block number 10 on the evening for Oklahoma. And so these Sooners, they finish their home schedule today, and then it will go on the road at Arkansas on Wednesday to close out its regular season. Could it finish the year with consecutive SEC wins and finish 500 in league play? That would be quite favorable for their resume.
And I think doing everything they can to try to make a good late impression on the committee, as one of the things that in the past has been important to the committee is, what have you done for me lately? Show me your most recent 10. And we said coming into this, Oklahoma has dropped 6 straight sets to Texas A&M, 3, and then 3 to Texas. And those are quality opponents. But I think it's important to see Oklahoma bounce back here today. And if they can win this 3rd set and win in sweep fashion, that speaks very well for them, because they've got that matchup looming at Arkansas, a team who beat them earlier. And so lots of eyes on Oklahoma right now, lots of eyes on Arkansas. I think that is a match that you better believe the committee will be tuned into.
Jasmine Ellison, very skilled server in her freshman season. The Toronto native leads the team with 20 aces. Shear denied. Another chance, though, to the opposite side. Not a clean serve right there for Zimmerman, though Auburn gets the point.
And we're seeing a change here for Auburn. We're now seeing number 10, Emma Moore, into the match in the middle. We'll see if if they actually go to a 6-2 or if they continue to run a 5-1 and just use more across the middle. I think at this point, if you're Brent Crouch, you're just trying to light a fire. You know, a little bit of a spark, see if they can change things up. The Oklahoma block has really set the tone early in this one, and this Auburn offense has not been able to catch spark.
4-4 after the service error. Auburn in those first 2 sets. Missy, they hit right around 0. Basically right at 0 in the first 2 sets. It was a negative number in that first set. And just 6 kills, that's it, in each of the first 2 sets for Auburn. That is a really low number.
And in Auburn's defense, they were running a 6-2 by choice, had decided to go to a 5-1 by choice, then had a setting injury, so then had to go to a 5-1 by necessity. And, you know, so we've seen some setting changes, and we know how difficult it is offensively to get going when you're changing setters and for the attackers to find their timing. And now we've seen a setting change even over the course of this match. So lots going on that Auburn side, not to mention the fact they're playing without their, you know, their libero, who's obviously passing for them in all 6 rotations. And this tends to have been the story for quite a few teams across the Southeastern Conference this year, just players in and out of the lineup. I know both Kentucky and Florida have dealt with a lot of injuries as well.
How about the athleticism from Alexis Shelton? She is fantastic. Watch this one.
Kevin, you asked me earlier as we were headed to break. Yes, and that's the key. You asked me earlier as we were headed to break, you know, what allows for these particular players to be so dominant out of the backcourt? And it's that athleticism you just pointed out, because of the fact that they have to jump, if you're not familiar with the back row attack, from behind that 3-meter or 10-foot line. They can land anywhere, but they have to take off from behind that line. And these setters are now running that ball so fast, and those players are coming and getting it. They're landing it nearly up at the net, but they're jumping from behind, and they're high contact point and their ability to come through so quickly. It's the athleticism that sets them apart. So this would be a perfect time to reveal that Alexis Shelton, nice kill there from Auburn, she was a 4-time high school All-American in the triple jump and hurdles. I mean, there's the long jump right there on that prior kill. Yeah, the hops. I think that would be the easy way to put it. Who's got hops? That's who's going to attack well out of the backcourt.
Well, good genetics in that Shelton family, because her mother Angel and father Brandon, they were track stars themselves, respectively, at Clemson and Southern Illinois back in the day. So Shelton, the Charlotte native, in her 3rd season at Oklahoma, just continues to grow, mature, and every year now, her kill numbers, her efficiency, it gets better. And that's why she's very likely headed to a 2nd straight all-conference season.
Done now for Auburn back there at the service line, creating a little momentum. And we're seeing Bella Bell back into the front row, but she is playing on the right side, and Dunn in the back row, which means they've flipped back to the 6-2, trying to find something here. And they told us that early this season, the 6-2 had worked really well for them. And even when they started to lose matches, they just didn't feel like they needed to hit the panic button, because statistically speaking, they were scoring enough points to win matches. We're just not able to close sets at the end. And so they really felt like the 6-2 made a lot of sense. And then they finally decided to give the 5-1 a try, but you can understand why these players would feel comfortable in the system that they've run for most of the season. And so here we go again, back to the 6-2.
Boy, and right as Auburn went on that 3-0 run, to your point, Oklahoma with back-to-back to pull back in front by 1. Here's the block again.
And you said it, it's the block for Oklahoma that continues to put pressure. There have been very
original decision, point Oklahoma, no net fault. Auburn is challenging, and net fault on the play.
Oh, that's a great look right there, down the net. Was there a touch?
There have been very few opportunities.
Forearm.
Yep.
Oh.
Definitely.
After review, there was a net fault number 27. Auburn wins the point and retains her challenge.
So let's flip it. So it's now a 4-1 Auburn run. It's got a lead. And yeah, Missy, this feels like a moment. You know, the beauty of the challenge, Brent Crouch and the staff, they can huddle up with their players. This is very much a moment of urgency here for Auburn. You got the 1-point lead.
There have been very few opportunities for Auburn to swing against just two hands. It's been consistent double and triple blocks. These hitters have had nowhere to go. And so a mistake like that for the block that's been so dominant, could that be just what this Auburn team needs to get a little something going?
Geisberger hammers it. That's a brilliant dig by Zoe Slaughter, filling in for DaCosta today at the libero position. Geisberger denied that time. Little confusion. Shelton somehow gets it over. Shear terminates it. It's a 5-1 Auburn run.
Huge dig, as you mentioned, by Zoe Slaughter. And oftentimes you can turn defense into offense. You know, when things aren't going your way, when the execution isn't there, if you continue to give good effort, good things happen, right? And so you have to play through those valleys. And the big dig by Zoe Slaughter, could that be the turning point?
I mean, Auburn has rarely had even a 2-point lead. This might be their first 2-point lead of the match here in the third set. Making a 3-point advantage. Bell with a laser. Timeout, Oklahoma. Auburn has got a 3-point edge after a 6-1 run. They're down 2-0. They need to capitalize on the momentum. Powerful kill from Bella Bell. They're on a 6-1 run, and it has a 3-point edge in this third set, down 2-0.
Bella Bell doing everything she can to keep Auburn in this one. She's not only leading them in kills with 6, but in efficiency as well at 400. She's played in the middle for 2 sets. Now they've switched her back to the right side, and a good setting choice there off of a good pass is one of the few times that Auburn has really had the opportunity to swing with a little hole in the block. And so maybe in this 6-2 with offense from pin to pin, they can spread things out and get some better looks, because the Oklahoma block has been all over them.
Daley Ellison couldn't pound that one through, and Auburn's lead grows.
We talked about the Oklahoma block, how dominant it's been. We know they like to get 3 up. Well, Auburn as well, with Maddie Shears in the front row doing a good job of closing all the way to the right side.
Ellison keeps it up. Chamberlain to Geisberger. Boy, Auburn's block now is strong. Another tip. Oh, but that one could not be handled. Shear bumped it out of play, so that puts an end to the 7-1 Auburn run.
Hannah Pfiffner also on the floor in this set now for Oklahoma. So both coaches have made some changes throughout this match.
Down the line, Shear, Auburn's kills leader, with a precision bullet.
And the switch to the 6-2 here in the third set. Auburn just looking really comfortable. That is a beautiful set, delivered all the way to the line, not trapped. Dunn puts it all the way out to the line, and Shear actually has an opportunity to get around that big block.
8-2 run continues. Shelton hit the antenna, perhaps. 9-2 Auburn run, the sharpest they have played at any point this match right now.
And I like the decision by Brent Crouch to go back to the 6-2. Without their libero, their pins have not been able to get it going offensively, so this gives them more options. And without their libero, just going back to something that they've been in all season, something that they're comfortable in.
Geisberger rips it through. Kari Geisberger now with 8 kills. That's second to Shelton's 15. You know, on the Auburn side, there was that challenge earlier in this third set that gave the Tigers a 1-point advantage. And it felt like That was the time for Crouch and the staff to get his team's attention and say, we've got to put a little momentum and run together right here. They've got the 5-point lead, and they are trying to, first and foremost, avoid the sweep. Geisberger hammers it.
Really nice set to Geisberger. She's a right-handed player who swings from the right side, so it's important to get a good push all the way out to the pin. That ball has to cross her body. She has really nice footwork here to get to that ball, get it right in front of her right shoulder so that she has the ability to swing down the line, and that's a combination of the set that was delivered so well and her footwork to put herself in position. I believe that's back-to-back misses for Oklahoma from the service line as they're trying to close the gap here. They're not helping themselves.
Timeout, Oklahoma. This is the first time they have been a little out of sorts and discombobulated after winning the first 2 sets. Missy, they had 7-point leads, Oklahoma did, in each of the first 2 sets. So they were up big and were in command. Now they find themselves down 5. So let's take a moment to remind you, Friday night, we got a men's hoops doubleheader. It starts at 7, featuring the Kentucky Wildcats. They take on Georgia State, and then Texas, fresh off of a couple of wins in Brooklyn. Over the weekend, it faces Delaware State at 9. So both of those games right here on the network. You can also catch it streaming live on the app. So Kentucky, its men's basketball team, is off to a really fine start. Again, Missy, we were talking about this before. On the volleyball court, Kentucky has officially claimed at least a share, and they still have a chance to win it outright, of what would be its 8th consecutive SEC title.
Incredible, and just incredible work by that group of players and that staff this year for the obstacles that they have faced. You know, they swept Kentucky today. It was a really fun to see them with Aaron Lamb is now available again. So for them to just have all their players available, pretty exciting for them, and just some of the things that they're doing here late in the season as they continue to evolve and get better. And I think that's the key to this game. I mean, these teams are so athletic now. You can't be the same team in November that you were in August, and you won't continue to win if that's the case for you. You have to get better as the season goes on in order to keep up, and you can tell Kentucky has done just that this season. They have just gotten better and better.
Oh, give credit to Zoe Slaughter on that Auburn sequence. She has dug up some pretty good ones here in this 3rd set. Right here.
Keeping balls alive, you know, just keep your team in the rally, right? And then the block, and that has been huge. No surprise, right? We came into this one saying we've got the best 2 blocking teams in the league, and boy, have we seen that be a big piece of the formula of winning over the course of this match. It is just so hard to close out sets in this league, let alone matches. We've talked about the number of teams that we consider right there on the bubble in the tournament, and these teams, it is hard night in and night out to put these teams away.
Slaughter again on the floor to dig it out. Big swing. Tipped back. Opportunity here for Oklahoma. Shelton. Not that time. Dreves. That's blocked back.
I really like this end zone look that we're getting because it gives you a great picture of the blocking work that's happening at the net. And we're seeing both of these teams, how often they're putting 3 blocks up. So the amount of movement you're seeing from the pin blockers, I just think that's a great view of how hard these players work in transition.
Thompson, well, that one's into the net. Auburn with a 7-point advantage once again. Here are those top teams of the SEC. Kentucky the win today. Missouri lost to Mississippi State. Texas and Florida with 2 matches Wednesday and Saturday to close out the season. All right, so 7-point advantage here for Auburn. This is its most effective and efficient set. Up high to Ellison. She couldn't get a clean swing on it. Zimmerman, not that time. A little bit of a rally back and forth now. This is Lauren Dreves. It's a long-range kill for the rookie. And Auburn is in command now. It's up 20-12, 5 away from winning a set.
And earlier in this match, when Kimmo Gibson with the left pin, we talked about the fact that she had been pretty high error. So they've gone with Ellison here. She's not erring them out of points, but hasn't been able to kill the ball. That has often been the case for Dreves here down the stretch. As a freshman, the wear and tear of the season, she's become a little less terminal, but has not erred herself out of sets. And there, for Auburn, comes up with a huge swing to the corner.
Yeah, she has handled herself really well this season. Like you said, taking a high volume of swings. They run out of real estate along the baseline there. Auburn they are really exploiting Oklahoma. This has been a weak set for the Sooners, and Auburn has made them pay. A couple of blocks for the Tigers in this set. There's another mistake, although Ellison and the Sooners were able to cash in there.
What a smart swing by Ellison there. Such discipline. She knew she had blockers, and it was a very purposeful swing right off of those blockers' hands. She handled that very well.
Edson to the far side. Dreves had to tip it. Free ball for the Tigers. Edson wants the middle. They got it. McCurdy puts it down.
And all of a sudden, this just looks like a completely different Auburn team. Nice little touch shot, really challenging Alexis Shelton to have to defend there and right back.
Edson with 5 assists in this set. 14 for Peyton Dunn. So we have seen both of the setters pretty solid. Oklahoma pounds that one off the block and down.
Pfiffner in the middle now for Oklahoma. Early in the match, it was KJ Burgess and Lydia Martin. We've seen some Pfiffner here in the third set, as well as Ellison at the left pin. We've seen Auburn go to a 6-2. So the chess match continues as these coaches make changes.
Kimoha up high to Geisberger. There was a touch, so Oklahoma is awarded the point.
Good snap down by Kari Geisberger as she tries to plant one deep into that corner. And the defender has to make an attempt at it.
You know, if there is one thing that is going for Auburn, they have not hit well, generally speaking, in this match. 0.73 hit percentage. But they have gotten progressively better and more efficient in each set. And so here in this third set, 222 hit percentage, not going to necessarily blow you away, but they do have the significant lead. Though after 3 straight Sooner points, Auburn takes the timeout in position to perhaps close out this third set, but they'll take a moment to talk about it late in the third. And so, yeah, there has just been a little bit of a difference, if you will, Missy, for Auburn, especially in this third set. So the hit percentage has gradually gotten better. And you've alluded to it. They're just a little sharper in general in this set.
Yeah, this third set is the first set where they've flipped into a 6-2, meaning their setter is always coming out of the back row, and that means they always have 3 options in the front row. There's always a right side attacker. It's either Zimmerman or Bella Bell, who was in the middle for the first 2 sets and now back on the right side. And I think in this third set, what we've seen is that the Oklahoma block has not been as effective because they haven't been able to consistently have 2 to 3 blocks blockers waiting on an attack. They don't really have a significant back row attack. They use it as an outlet, Auburn does, but I don't think it's a real kill threat out of the back row. And so that right side attack forces that Oklahoma middle to have to patrol all the way from one antenna to the other. And then in this set, we've finally seen these Auburn attackers get some opportunities where there's a hole in the block, where the block is late to close, and they've been able to get through that block. There was very few of those opportunities in the first two sets.
Yeah, Oklahoma had the 10 blocks, or pardon me, 11 blocks in those first two sets. And so that number has not been reached here in the third. Oklahoma, though, making a 4-0 run. It's a 23-17 set in the third in Norman. So Chamberlain to serve it. Bit of a freebie opportunity now for Ellison. Swings, hits it hard, off the block. Okay, the run continues. It's now a 5-zip run.
And Ellison just, again, showing what a disciplined attacker she is. These are just such smart shots. She's pulled well inside, and you see her. She knows exactly where she's going, just trying to use the edge of that block.
Kimo Ha with a nice stretch to keep it alive. Ellison with back-to-back.
Some senior day highlights for Ellison. The Texas State transfer, really doing a nice job in the front row with just her shots, as we've talked about earlier, just the ability to use all the shots, use the court, show off your range.
So things have tightened up here. Auburn, though, has a set point coming up. You know, I was going to ask you a moment ago, if you're Mansfield, do you call the timeout right when they get the 24th point? And so there it is. Dreams, though, she's on the service line, though. Here we go. Set point for Auburn. Chamberlain up high to Geisberger. Slaughter dug it out, but it's a free ball. Back to Geisberger. Back corner kill.
And in that particular rotation, Oklahoma had some trouble last time around, but this time they leave Geisberger out at the left pin where they can more easily get her the ball. The smaller Ellison they leave over at the right side, and it's 2 sets in a row to Geisberger to keep them alive.
Auburn has just got to find a way to close the door here. Whitney Wallace serves it. Dreves has to improvise. This is Shear. Got it! And Auburn finally closes the door. They had a 10-point lead. Oklahoma went on a 6-0 run, but the Tigers ultimately claim a set. A 25-20 winner. And will that change momentum in Norman? Madison Shear, Missy, is trying to will Auburn back into this match.
She has been staring down a triple block for a good part of the night, and so she has had to work for these kills, but credit her ability to hang in there and finally really find her groove in that third set as she now leads Auburn with 7 kills. But as we mentioned coming into this one, the key is the balanced attack from the pins, and that's what's finally gotten Auburn over the hump, as Shear has 7, Lauren Dreves with 6, Bella Bell, who's moved back out to the pin here in the 6-2 in that third set, has 6 as well, and then Belle Zimmerman with 5 kills. So the production comes from the pins for Auburn, and it's best for Auburn when it's well dispersed, when there is that balanced attack. That is their only way right now to combat that Oklahoma block that we saw absolutely have its way in sets 1 and 2.
Well, let's reset the stakes. Auburn has lost 9 straight matches. In 7 of those matches, they've won at least a set, so it has been competitive. Life in the SEC. And this Tiger program that had reached back-to-back NCAA tournaments the last couple of seasons, they are desperate to snap this skid and get back into the win column. Oklahoma, meanwhile, with a 2-1 advantage, has a 2-0 lead to start this 4th set. For them, they'd love it to be the decisive 4th set and take home a Senior Day win.
And there it shows its ugly head again.
14 and a half blocks now for the Sooners.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're Auburn, that block shows its ugly head again. Comes alive here early in the 4th set. They did a nice job of avoiding that block in set 3. And I thought perhaps as Auburn went into the 6-2 there in set 3, their setters were maybe a little more comfortable in their decision-making because it was rotations that they had played in all season long. And so I think in some of the rotations where they had typically not set, the decision-making, that learning curve is something you have to deal with. And so maybe better decisions from the setters. Not only is there attackers all along the net, but better decision making as well from the setters in set 3.
Well, meanwhile, we're seeing a good bit of Alexis Shelton right out of the chute here to begin the 4th set. Was a relatively quiet 3rd set for her in terms of just kills and the number of swings she took. And so now she's got 16 kills. That's down the line. Bella Bell converts.
Moments ago, we saw Bella Bell blocked there on the right side. This is a better delivery from Peyton Dunn this time. It's all the way out to the antenna, and you see Alexis Shelton giving her some line there. So they're challenging Auburn to make that set all the way out to the pin and then see if they can connect on it. And that time, Bella Bell is able to.
Oklahoma now the 4-2 lead. The Sooners are 12-10. They've got 2 matches left in their regular season. They're very much in the conversation for an at-large berth. It would behoove them to finish the season 500 in SEC play, and that would mean taking care of business today and then winning on the road at Arkansas. That would put them in a very good position to perhaps receive an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament field. But it's fair to say, Missy, there's work to do, and they've got to look good and perhaps cash in on consecutive wins to close out the season. They are in control tonight, claiming the first 2 sets and again getting off to this 6-2 lead in the 4th.
Yeah, looking for a way to separate themselves from the pack, and that pack includes Ole Miss, Tennessee, South Carolina, Arkansas, and Auburn right here, who's on the court, that they have the opportunity to show the committee why they deserve to be one of those teams out of that pack that makes their way into the tournament.
So the fortuitous bounce there favors Auburn. Yeah, nobody there.
As Oklahoma continues to go with Ellison here at the left pin opposite Alexis Shelton. She was in the 3rd set, now the 4th set as well.
Well, the McCaslin Center has come alive again here in the 4th set. Another kill for Hannah Pfiffner, who gets a swing here in the 4th.
And Pfiffner, who played for KJ Burgess early in the season when Burgess was injured for a time, does have some good game experience for Oklahoma. They insert her into this match as well, opposite Lydia Martin, and they continue to go with her in the 4th set. Both of these benches really deep.
She's got 3 kills on 6 swings. She takes a seat. Ellison gets blocked. Ellison goes up again, off the block, and Oklahoma's in front by 5.
And right now, what Ellison is providing for Oklahoma is what you want from your 0-2, that second outside. Someone who can keep you in a rally. She's making smart shots, and then when the stars align, she goes for it. Really nice work for her at the net right now.
Yeah, Ellison with 7 kills, so that's 3rd behind Shelton and Geisberger today. And Auburn has to take the timeout after falling behind 9-3. The McCaslin Fieldhouse has come alive again in Norman. Field storming execution, it was a little better than Arizona State. A little better.
Yeah.
Although Arizona Tempe got 2 field storming, so
yeah, the timing was definitely better. We'll give them that, right?
Although some may argue 2 field stormings are better than 1. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Auburn needs to respond here. It fell behind by large deficits in both the first and second sets. Lost 25-20 and 25-18. Then came alive in that third set. At one point had a 10-point advantage. Ultimately claimed the third set. Oklahoma sprinted out to a 9-3 lead in what they would like to be a decisive fourth set. Ellison, was there a touch? No. So back-to-back for Auburn after the timeout.
Well, Oklahoma was hitting about 800 in this fourth set. After that miss, they're going to cool down to about 700. But I think it's still safe to say off to a really good start.
Yeah, that was the first error, attack error that is, for Oklahoma in this third set. There's another for the senior. Her final match in this building, her second year with the program. Daly Ellison from Aledo, Texas, has made an impact when her number has been called. Now 8 kills on a .250 hit percentage. Back set to Bill Zimmerman. She's been a little quiet today. 6 kills on 24 swings. Ellison tried to pound it. Dug out nicely that time by Auburn. Boy, the pressure at the net is just overwhelming right now. Oklahoma finally stuffs it down.
Lydia Martin, so much credit here. The discipline of her handwork, the speed of her feet. She's low and over every time. No chance of using those hands. The placement she has, reaching over the net. They're taking away that low, hard ball, and their hands have been so disciplined throughout the course of this match. And Lydia Martin certainly leading the way.
And a half blocks. My goodness.
That's a monster number.
That one point favors Auburn.
That was McCurdy
So again,
that time out of the middle.
Sorry, go ahead, Missy.
That time McCurdy out of the middle. And I'll be curious as Auburn goes back to serve. You mentioned it moments ago, Kevin, but it feels like we haven't called Alexis Shelton's name a lot. And in that third set, in a must-have situation, it seems like you typically go back to your tendencies. She's in the back row right here, and they didn't need her there. That was a big-time swing down the middle from Oklahoma to side out very quickly. But as she goes to the front row here, and Oklahoma, having just dropped set 3, takes the court here in set 4, hoping to put this one away. Will we see a little more of Alexis Shelton here in this fourth set?
Shelton, match high 16 kills, and with an impressive .323 hit percentage. Anytime you're over 300, that is a brilliant percentage. The lead grows, and Auburn uses its second and final timeout of this set. Well, the offense is tightened up for Oklahoma in the fourth set. 16.5 blocks. By the way, their season high for a 4-set match is 18, so they are getting very close to that. And it has been, yes, the work of Shelton, but Geisberger, senior, final time in this building with 13 kills. We just saw Lydia Martin with not only her 8th kill of the match, but a block a few moments ago. Martin, her second year with this program, final match inside McCaslin. You know, we have seen the impacts of the veterans today, Missy, in their final match in this building. Daly Ellison has been impactful. You have complimented Chamberlain's work distributing the ball today, their 3-year starting center. Callie Kimaha on the back line. I mean, the seniors have been well represented today in their final match in this building.
And what we we've seen from Oklahoma with all this play, I think I've been so impressed with the depth of the roster. You know, to see them make that change and to go with Ellison for a more high efficiency look in a match where maybe they feel like, hey, we don't need to give away points here. You know, they kind of have Auburn's number at the net with their block, so they want to make sure they're not erring and giving points to their opponent. And Ellison has provided that for them. They're definitely 3 deep in the middle, as we've seen Pfiffner and KJ Burgess both opposite of Lydia Martin, and they have different strengths, and so I think that plays well for this Oklahoma team down the road. Different teams you match up differently. You know, some teams you match up better against, others you don't, but to have options and be able to make some changes like that, and if they were to be in the tournament and need a different matchup, it's going to become very important down the road.
Last time in this building for Oklahoma. And can they finish this season on good footing? You know, we asked Aaron Mansfield, again, his second season as the head coach. He spent the prior 5 years at LMU.
That time the block, I was just talking moments ago about how disciplined they were about getting their hands low and over, and you see the difference there when you don't get over soon enough, how that attack is able to find its way through.
Shear with the kill.
That balanced attack for Auburn is the key, but Madison Shear now into double digits, the first player for the Tigers into double digits with 10 kills.
Shelton. Shear couldn't terminate it. Back set, Geisberger got it.
It's been a heavy dose of Kari Geisberger today for Oklahoma, and why not? It's going quite well at this point. She's got 14 kills now on 26 attempts. That's a really strong kill percentage, hitting at .423. 7 blocks, as you mentioned just moments ago, but that's obviously a matchup, when we talk about matchups, that favors Oklahoma against those Auburn left sides who are asked to do a lot. So with her over there, just overloading them, force them to have to defend Kari and not be able to focus so much on their offense.
Again, another one of those seniors in their final match today inside McCaslin. Just to get back to the point I was making a few moments ago, with this being Mansfield's second season at OU, we asked him just, what has it been like for you? So many years on the West Coast, previously the prior 5 seasons at LMU. He said the support here in Norman is outstanding. He goes, let me put it this way. We finished last in the Big 12 last year. We went 4-14, and yet we set an attendance record for this building for the volleyball program. The support for a giant brand like Oklahoma, it is there through thick and thin. And so can they close out this home slate with a good feeling? Shelton's latest kill gives the Sooners a 5-point edge once again.
Yeah, and talk about a coaching challenge. If you want to challenge yourself, Coach Mansfield, 3 consecutive seasons, 3 different conferences. He came from LMU, he was in the West Coast Conference. He comes to Oklahoma for 1 year of the Big 12, and now the move to the SEC. Realize this is a team who next year will be much more familiar with their opponents. You know, we'll see some people for the second and third time. And so this is a team who I think is certainly on the rise.
By the way, those 3 different conference stops, none of them were very easy. The vaunted SEC this year. Last year, of course, you got the national champs Texas that steamrolled the competition. Remember his final year at LMU, that was that San Diego season when they crashed the Final Four. Oklahoma back up by 5 here.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that as a coach, he's been involved in so many different styles of play. We talked to him about the style of the SEC, and he talked about the physicality of the play in this league. And yet I think as a coach, he has so much experience to draw on from the tendencies of each of those leagues, and, you know, what's been valuable to him as a coach and what he brings to this Oklahoma team. So it's been fun to watch the way he coaches his team. big challenges, of course, is building a roster when you go somewhere. And for him, building a roster that's fit for play in this particular league. And I think he feels like next year he's going to be in a really good place.
Shelton from the back row again. How many is that for her now? Basically won a set from the back row for Shelton. Take a bow like indeed.
Yes, and I like the setting choice here from Peyton Chamberlain. They've got their left side blocker coming over to the middle, fronting the setter nearly, and so they're leaving some room there for Alexis Shelton. You don't want to forget about her in the back row.
That's a nice long-range kill for Zimmerman. What makes that so difficult to defend for the opposition, a stud like Shelton from the back row?
Yeah, I think they're swinging out of right back, particularly, rather than right down the middle of the court. And so the tendency of that block is to release a little toward the middle. Both of these are good help blocking teams. We talked about the fact that both these teams block quite a few balls per set. And so because they don't have a attacker right in front of them, we saw that Auburn blocker release a little to the middle to be able to help. And you can't really do that when you have Alexis Shelton swinging out of right back. You almost have to stay home and defend her out of the back row, which again just opens things up for all the attackers to have that option.
Wow, look out. Zimmerman has a couple of laser beams in this fourth set.
This swing from Zimmerman is going to get her into double-digit kills as well. And so Zimmerman and Shear both playing some really nice volleyball here late in the season as they continue to lean into those two with double-digit kills against Florida in their most recent match coming into this one.
Back-to-back for the Tigers. And Aaron Mansfield wants to take a moment to talk it over. So that's a little bit of a run here for Auburn after Oklahoma had taken the 18-13 lead. It's back-to-back points for the Tigers. And they're trying to make this the closeout set tonight. Missy, it would give them 13 wins. It would give Oklahoma another top 75 RPI win. So, we like to talk about the field of 64. If you're a top 75 team, you're pretty much tournament caliber. So that's wins against quality programs. And that RPI of 32, that looks pretty good. They've got an opportunity today, if they can close it out, to add an 8th win against top 75 competition.
I think it's really important for Oklahoma. They have Auburn right here on their home court before they have to go on the road at Arkansas. And for them to really solidify things, I think it's important that they don't lose to a team with a lower RPI than themselves. And that's the case in this match against Auburn, and that will be the case on the road at Arkansas. So again, as Coach Mansfield said, he said, over the last several weeks, we've gone into the locker room, we've put our RPI up on the board, we've listed our upcoming opponents, and we've listed our opponents' RPI. He said, we're just creating a narrative of reality. It's not a scare tactic by any means. He said these players are reading stuff. They know what's going on. We see it as a challenge. We want to be prepared for it. We want to face it head on. But they want to put themselves in the best committee to have already proven where they belong and not to have to rely on submitting a resume to the committee that feels a little wishy-washy. And I think if they submit something to the committee where they're below 500 in conference play, that still, you've left the door open a little there, and they want to slam the door here.
Geisberger got it.
There's a slam. Kari Geisberger, once again, who's having a great day, swinging from both the left side and the right side, using her quite a bit in serve receive down that left side in this particular rotation. And she has a really good connection there. Some right side players just don't look comfortable swinging from the left side, and it makes that a particularly hard serve receive pattern. But Kari Geisberger has bailed them out of that several times.
113 matches now for the fifth-year senior Geisberger. She's closing in on 1,400 kills. Aaron Mansfield very happy to have her for that additional year of eligibility. The 15 kills. Auburn, though, back within 3. That one was alive momentarily, but Geisberger gets credit for what will be her 16th kill. One of the finer matches of her season today.
Yeah, and a long string set there from Peyton Chamberlain. That's not an easy ball. She's on the run into left front and does a great job tracking that one down, and a big push behind her to get the ball all the way to Kari Geisberger.
So to put into context, she's got 16 kills. It's a 4-set match, so you do the quick math. She's averaging about 4 kills per set. Her average is 2.5, which is a fine number. But so this is an above-average performance for Geisberger today.
And I felt like we saw this sort of Kari Geisberger early in SEC play against the Kentuckys and the Floridas. You know, she was such a key piece as to what they were doing. And there was some time there in SEC play where I thought she faded a little. And sometimes that has something to do with passing. Coach Mansfield said, you know, we weren't getting the attempts out of the middle. And some of that was a result of passing. You can become left side heavy at times in conference play. And so I like the diversity and the set selection that we're seeing from Oklahoma here today.
All right, 2 aces now for the Tigers this set. Overall, they've got 6 aces today, so that is a really good number for an Auburn team that's okay from the service line relative to the rest of the folks in the SEC. Sheer swing is handled. Shelton tried to tip it. They got to get it over here. Shelton hammers it down.
Early
it's
in
a
that
20
rally.
kill performance.
Yes, it is. That's a good catch. Yeah, 20 already. Early in that rally, Auburn was ahead in the point because Oklahoma had to give them a free ball. And you would hope that that's a ball that Auburn would have been able to convert on. But instead, the Oklahoma block, which has been such a key part of this match, the Oklahoma block was able to slow down that big swing, and that made all the difference.
Oklahoma is 3 points away now from not only closing out its home schedule with a win, but getting closer to 500 in league play. A significant opportunity to pick up a top 50 RPI win today to boost their tournament resume. Brilliant effort from Dunn to keep this possession alive, but everybody was in scramble mode. Pfiffner with another kill.
Impressive swing from Pfiffner. She did not start this match, has been inserted into the middle, and she has come alive with that live arm offensively.
Original decision, point Oklahoma. Auburn is challenging. There was a net fault in the middle of the play.
So was there a bit of a net touch at some point earlier in that sequence?
Interesting in that we've had a couple challenges over the course of this match that have had to do with net violations, and oftentimes the coaches have been right. So this one will be interesting.
Well, if it stands as it is, Oklahoma would keep the 5-point lead and be 2 away from closing out the match. If this is reversed, all of a sudden it's a 3-point fourth set once again with Auburn serving.
After review call is confirmed that there is no net fault, Auburn loses their challenge and Oklahoma retains the point.
It's been an interesting day for Brent Crouch's team. A season that started with such great promise. Missy, they got off to that 14-2 start. It was by no means a fluke whatsoever. They had the win against Florida State. They had the significant win against Kentucky. Only 2 teams have beaten Kentucky in league play. Auburn was one of them. But then they just have been on this very rocky, challenging, sideways stretch since. 9 straight losses. You know, if there is any sort of silver lining, if you want to look at it that way, after back-to-back tournament appearances for Auburn, they're guaranteed to finish 500 or better than 500, I should say, this season. So that would be 3 consecutive winning seasons. They hadn't done that in several decades. Just the consistency that this program has set a standard at.
Yeah,
we have a match point, though, coming up.
Yeah, and their disappointment will come based on the fact that they themselves have raised the bar of what is success now at Auburn. And so if they don't make the tournament and there's disappointment in that, it's a good thing, because this is an Auburn program who has turned the corner, and that success is now expected there.
OU with the win would vault itself officially into the top half of the SEC based on some other outcomes from today. Here's a swing from Bell. This match will continue. 5-point set. And so Auburn serves it away.
Bell, incredible match in that she's played in 2 different positions. We started off with her in the middle as Auburn was in a 5-1. She's now on the right side as they switch back to their 6-2. And it doesn't matter. Put her wherever you want. She's still hitting 421 on the day.
They need to go on a run. Match point once again. The slide wins it for Oklahoma. And how about the fitting sequence? The 5th-year senior, Kelsey Carrington, 5 years with the program, clinches the match with the game winner on her only swing of the evening. Savvy move by the OU coaching staff to say, hey, go win us this one in your last match in McCaslin. And so now it's an 8th top 75 RPI win for Oklahoma, whose RPI you would think would increase once they come out again tomorrow. Missy, nice work from Oklahoma today.
Carrington couldn't have looked any better on that one opportunity, made the most of it and put it away. And I think it's interesting that that's the way it ended, because really this match highlighted the depth of the Oklahoma roster, and they hope they can continue to show off that depth well into the postseason.
Carrington gets to say I hit 1,000 on my senior night. 1 for 1, baby. Alexis Shelton, meanwhile, the MVP today with the 21 kills. But on senior night, they all perform well. And OU now 13-10. They need one more win to close out the year. Hope you enjoyed it. For Missy, I'm Kevin. Good night from Norman.